Lesson 11.7 is dividing polynomials. What the word polynomial mean is it just means a number or an expression with more than one term. So 3x plus 4 would be an example of a polynomial because there are two terms, 3x and 4. So example 1, we're going to be learning how to divide by a monomial. A monomial is just one term, okay? And so I'm going to divide the expression that they have given me. 9x squared plus 12x minus 18, and I'm going to divide it by 3x. Now, when they put the word by, it's the same thing as if they put a division sign. So if on your homework or on something else you see, 9x squared plus 12x minus 18 divided by 3x, then it's the same thing as the word by. So what they want us to do is I have to divide every single term by 3x, okay? Since I have a monomial, that actually makes my job much easier. So I write 9x squared plus 12x minus 18. I'm just going to rewrite that. And I know that I need to divide every single term by 3x. So I write divided by 3x, divided by 3x, divided by 3x. Okay? And then I'm going to use what we learned in the last lessons and just simplify. That's all I need to do here. So I say, okay, what number is going to go into 9 and 3? 3. 3 goes into 3 how many times? 1. 3 goes into 9 how many times? 3. Make sure you don't make the mistake and say 2. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Now I've got to simplify the variables. I've got an x squared and an x. So how many x's can I cancel out? 1. So I cancel 1 out from the bottom. That's all that it has. Cancel 1 out from the top, and I'm actually left with 1 because there was 2 there to begin with. Okay? So my new first term is 3x over 1, which that's basically the exact same thing as saying 3x. So that's what I'm going to write. Now I put my plus sign here because my signs are not going to change. So I have my plus sign there. Now, let's simplify 12x over 3x. What number can go into both 12 and 3? 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 12 how many times? 4. Now look at both of these terms. They both have an x. So what does that mean? They cancel out. I can cancel 1 out and they both have 1, so I just cancel them out completely. So now I have 4 over 1, which I can write that like what, Stefan? 4. Very good. 4 over 1 is 4. Now I've got to do the last one, okay? First of all, I'm going to keep my minus sign there because I know it's going to have the same sign. And then I don't even have to worry about the sign. I've got 18 divided by 3. Or what number will go into both 18 and 3? 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 18 6 times. Now, is there anything I can do to cancel the x's out? Anything at all? No, there is no x to cancel out. So, I have to write this problem as 6 over 1x. I cannot write that x beside 6 because that's not where it is. The x is on the bottom and it has to stay on the bottom of the fraction. Now, I have people go, all right, 3x and 6 over 1x. They're like terms so I can combine them. No, they are not like terms. Okay? Because again, it's not 6x. It's 3x and 6 over 1x. So this would be my final answer. That's all you got to do to divide by a monomial. Okay? Now let's do this next problem. I need to divide everything here by 4x. And instead of rewriting it, I'm actually just going to write 4x here. And I just need to simplify. Katrina, what number can go into 12 and 4? 4. So I say, okay, 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Now if I have 2 x's on the top and 1 on the bottom, what can I simplify by? 1x, so I cancel the 1 down here. I cancel 1 from up top, but I'm still left with 1. So what is my first term going to be? 3x. Now, it just so happened to be the same as the first one. Your first term will not always be 3x, okay? Now, I keep my minus sign because I know that there's a minus sign between those, and I say, all right, what number can go into 20 and 4? 4. 4 goes into 4 1 time. 4 goes into 20 5 times. What can I do with those x's? Cancel them both out because they're both the exact same. So what should my second term be? 5. Okay? And lastly, I have 8 over 4x. What number can go into 8 and 4? 4. 4 goes into 4 1 time. 4 goes into 8 2 times. So I'm left with 2 over 1x. And this is my final answer. Okay? Now we're going to divide using a polynomial. So I'm going to be dividing by something that has more than one term. So I have x minus 1. So I need to divide by a binomial, okay? And what I'm going to do is I can't do division like I did last time when I had a monomial, okay? I can't do x squared over x minus 1 because that's not going to simplify. I'd have to put parentheses around this, and then there's nothing that's the same, so I can't do anything to that. Okay, so let me ask you this. Going way back to elementary school, who remembers division way before calculators? If your teacher gave you a problem, 552 divided by 22, what would you have to do, Sydney?
Like get the little upside thing.
Long division, okay? So what I would do is I would take 22 and I would put it on the outside and I would divide by 552, okay? I'd ask myself, how many times can 22 go into 55?
2.
2 times. So I put the 2 right there. 2 times 22 is 44. I subtract and I'm left with 11. I bring down my 2. How many times can 22 go into 112? 5 times. 5 times 22 is 110. Now, I'm left with 2. So exactly. I can either put 25 and a remainder of 2. That's what my elementary teacher used to make me do. Or, this is what I want you to get used to. 2 over 22. Okay? Or you could do 1 over 11. Okay? So, that's what we're going to be doing in this example right here. We are going back to elementary school and we're doing long division because I cannot do anything else with division with x minus 1. So this is exactly what I do. Now I want everyone to pay attention carefully here. So I write x minus 1 on the outside, and underneath I have x squared plus 2x plus 4. And this is exactly what you do, okay? It looks like it would be really complicated, but it's actually really not, okay? All you got to do is you got to ask yourself, what do I need to do to x to make it x squared? Multiply it by x. Now, this is where you got to be careful. Whenever I say, okay, all I need to do is multiply by x, that x that you write has to go over its like term. I cannot put x over x squared because they're not like terms. So basically, anytime you do long division, you're always going to skip the first term, always, and go straight into the second one. So now that I know I've just got to multiply by x, I've got to take this x and I need to distribute it to everything. Because I can't just multiply x times x. I've got to multiply x times x and x times negative 1. So I do x times x, which is x squared. X times negative 1, which is negative 1x. Okay? Now, everyone listen. This is the part that you've got to get. This is one of the parts you have to memorize. Once you do that, you automatically change the signs of your second, what you have, x squared plus 1x. So this x squared is going to become a negative x squared. and the 1x is going to become a positive 1x. Whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other, so I just change signs. Okay? The whole reason is because I need these x squareds to cancel out. And x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. So that's not going to cancel out, so I've got to change the signs. And your first term should always cancel out. If it does not cancel out, then you've done something wrong. Okay? 2x plus 1x is 3x. Then what I do is I bring down my plus 4. And I ask myself, what do I need to do to x to make it 3x? Multiply by 3. And what kind of 3 am I going to multiply? Positive. No, because you want to be identical. So we multiply by a positive 3. Okay? So, again, I've got to distribute that 3 to everything. So it's going to be 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. What do I have to do to my signs? Change them. So this becomes a negative 3. This becomes a positive 3. What happens here is my first terms cancel out, exactly what I want, and then I do 4 plus 3, which is 7. There's nothing else left to bring down by the 7. So 7 is my remainder. So I'm going to write my little plus sign here because it has to be plus. And I'm going to write 7 over x minus 1. And this is my final answer, just like this. Okay?
Can we make it remainder of 7 or do we have to?
No, it needs to be over a fraction. I don't want you to write R7. I want you to write 7 over x minus 1. Okay? Now, let's do the second problem. Okay, that one was the first one. It taught you what to do. Now we're going to do this second one. So, what is going to go on the outside when I do long division? X plus 3. So I write x plus 3 on the outside. What goes underneath the division sign?
3x squared plus 7x minus 12.
Very good. 3x squared plus 7x minus 12. Okay? Now I have to ask myself, what am I going to do to x to make it 3x squared? Multiply by 3x, exactly. And where does that 3x have to go? Over the 7x. It always has to go over its like term. So then I just multiply. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 3 is 9x. Now they're both positive. So what do I have to do? Change the signs. The signs are going to become negative 3 and negative 9x. So, first terms are going to cancel out. That's exactly what you want. And then 7 minus 9 is what? Negative 2x. Don't forget, you got to keep the like term. Then I bring down the negative 12. Now, what do I need to multiply x by to make it negative 2x? Negative 2. So I write negative 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. What am I going to do now? Change the signs. Positive and positive. First terms cancel out. Exactly what I want. And then negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6. Now, listen here. What you can do is you can do plus negative 6 over x plus 3. Okay? And that is your final answer. Okay? All right? Now, I'm going to write one more up here that I want you guys to do. Okay? I want you guys now to do this problem. 6x squared plus 11x plus 4 divided by 2x plus 1. All right, I'm going to go ahead and begin and solve this problem. So we have 2x plus 1, which needs to be on the outside, divided by 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. All right? What am I going to do, Jake, to make 2x 6x squared? Very good. Multiply by 3x. And Tiara, where does that 3x have to go over top of? Very good. So I multiply 3x by everything. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x. Now, what am I going to have to do to my sign, Ciara? Change it. This one needs to be a negative, and this one needs to be a negative. First terms cancel out. 11x minus 3x is 8x. Bring down my plus 4. What do I need to do to make 2x 8x, Sam?
Multiply by 4.
Multiply by 4. Very good. And I put a plus 4 because I'm multiplying by positive 4. 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times 1 is 4. Now, what do I need to do, Katrina? Change the sign. So I have negative 8 and negative 4. So, negative 8 and 8 cancel out. But then look what happens here. 4 minus 4 is what? 0. It cancels out. So guess what that means? I'm not going to have a remainder. This is my final answer. So not every time will you have a remainder. Sometimes it comes out to be a nice, simple problem. All right? And that's how you divide using long division.